Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astottara Satya Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Garantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistuki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We continue reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21. Instructions by Maharaj Prithu, text number 1. A word for word. Maitriya Vacha Moktikair Kushuma Shakbir Dukaler Swarna Toraner Maha Surabhibhir Duper Manditam Tatra Vai Maitriya Vacha Moktikair Kushama Shakbir Dukuler Swarna Toraner Mahasurabhibhir Duper Manditam tatra tatra vai. Maitreya vacha Mukti ker kushuma shagbir Dukule swanatharoner Mahasurabibir duper Manditam tatra tatra vai. Maitreya vacha Mukti ker kushuki Mukti ker kushuma shagbir Dukule swana thoraner Mahasura duper Manditam tatra tatra vai. Nitya vacha Vatake Shakvi Nakale Swana Thorane Mahashurabi Vidupe Manditam Tatra Tatra Vai. Maitreya Uvacha A word for word translation. Maitreya Vacha. The great sage Maitreya continued to speak. Muktiker, wood pearls. Kushuma, of flowers. Shagbhi, wood garlands. Dukule, cloth. Swarna, golden. Toraner, by gates. Mahasurabhibhir, highly perfumed. Duper, by incense. Manditam, decorated. Tatra tatra, here and there. By, certainly. Translation. The great sage Maitreya told Vidura, when the king entered his city, it was very beautifully decorated to receive him with pearls, flower garlands, beautiful cloth and golden gates, and the entire city was perfumed with highly fragrant incense. Please repeat. The great sage Maitreya told Vidura, when the king entered his city, it was very beautifully decorated to receive him with pearls, flower garlands, beautiful cloth and golden gates, and the entire city was perfumed with highly fragrant incense. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Real opulence is supplied by natural gifts such as gold, silver, pearls, valuable stones, fresh flowers, trees, and silken cloth. Thus, the Vedic civilization recommends opulence and decoration with these natural gifts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such opulence immediately changes the condition of the mind, and the entire atmosphere becomes spiritualized. King Pritu's capital was decorated with such highly opulent conditions. Opulent decorations. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ulmilitam Yena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Satadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pascheta Dashatarine Vanchakalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pabhinebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Canto 4, Chapter 21, Text 1, Translation. The great sage Maitreya told Vidura, when the king entered his city, it was very beautifully decorated to receive him with pearls, flower garlands, beautiful cloth, and golden gates, and the entire city was perfumed with highly fragrant incense. We continue this pastime of Maharaj Prithu. He has returned home after receiving instructions from Lord Vishnu, and here we get a description of a Vedic culture on how to receive a great saintly person, and also how to receive the Lord himself. And we find the auspicious items that are mentioned here. Prabhupada writes, real opulence is supplied by natural gifts such as gold, silver, pearls, valuable stones, fresh flowers, trees, and silken cloth. Thus the Vedic civilization recommends opulence and decoration with these natural gifts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such opulence immediately changes the condition of the mind, and the entire atmosphere becomes spiritualized. Here we find everything in Vedic culture is how to uplift the living entity. And here we find by decorating with these auspicious items, it changes the condition of the mind. So it's so wonderful that Srila Prabhupada has given us this process of Krishna consciousness where everything is included. When we have our festivals, we can see how everything is very nicely decorated, the ceremonies that take place with all the different auspicious items. And we will also find there's so many examples of these types of decorations and how to receive the Lord and the saintly personalities. One nice example is of Lord Krishna and Balaram entering Mathura. Kamsa sent Akrura to Vrindavan to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. So as the chariot of Akrura was entering Mathura, it was a very festive occasion. And we'll read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, from the 10th canto, chapter 41, verses 20 to 23. And it explains the atmosphere when Krishna and Balaram were entering Mathura. Translation: the Lord saw Mathura with all with its tall gates and household entrance made of crystal, its immense archways and main doors of gold, its granaries and other storehouses of copper and brass, and its impregnable moats. Beautifying the city were pleasant gardens and parks. The main intersections were fashioned of gold, and there were mansions with private pleasure gardens, along with guild halls and many other buildings. Mathura resounded with the calls of peacocks and pet turtle doves, who sat in small openings on the lattice windows and on the gem-studded floors, and also on the columned balconies and on the ornate rafters in front of the houses. These balconies and rafters were adorned with Vaidurya stones, diamonds, crystal quartz, sapphires, corals, pearls, and emeralds. All the royal avenues and commercial streets were sprinkled with water, as were the side roads and courtyards. The flower garlands, newly grown sprouts, parched grains, and rice had been scattered around everywhere. Gracing the houses' doorways were elaborately decorated pots filled with water, which were bedecked with mango leaves, smeared with yogurt and sandalwood paste, and encircled by flower petals and ribbons. Near the pots were flags, rows of lamps, bunches of flowers, and trunks of banana and betel nut trees. So here we can also see how the Shri Radha Radhanath ki Jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki Jai, Gaur Hari ki Jai, Tulsi Maharani ki Jai, Guru Parampara ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. How the decorations were of valuable gems, and also we find how the different trees and plants are also auspicious. He has mentioned mango leaves, very important when we are doing some celebration, even at weddings, things like there's mango leaves and banana leaves and trunks of banana. So we can see how we are fortunate that this tradition is still being carried out in many Vedic ceremonies. Always when we see at a house there's trunks of banana, we know there's something that's going on. So here we find in Lord Krishna's times, and we're giving a wonderful description when Lord Krishna is entering Mathura, that they also they made garlands, strings of these garlands of mango leaves, and the banana trees were also used. So it's very, very auspicious when there's some ceremony going, some spiritual function going on, that we continue this tradition. Because Lord Krishna also, during his time, we read over 5,000 years ago, this tradition was there. And it's the same reception that Prithu Maharaj is practically receiving when he's coming back home. Valuable stones, banana leaves, mango leaves. He has mentioned betel nut trees. So all these trees are very auspicious, and there's so many. The banyan tree is also very auspicious. And we are fortunate that one special plant or tree that Prabhupada introduced to the West is Tulasi. We're very fortunate from many of us who come from Indian backgrounds or who have some contact with Vedic culture. To some extent we are familiar with Tulasi, but we actually didn't know so much until we come in contact with Prabhupada, especially through his books. In the Nectar of Devotion, the glories of Tulsi Maharani described from Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, chapter 11. Aspects of transcendental service, serving trees such as the Tulasi. So this is a very nice section. In the Skanda Purana, there is a statement praising the Tulasi tree as follows. Quote, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Tulasi tree, which can immediately vanquish volumes of sinful activities. Simply by seeing or touching this tree, one can become relieved from all distresses and diseases. Similarly, by offering obeisances to and pouring water on the Tulasi tree, one can become freed from the fear of being sent to the court of Yamaraj, the king of death, who punishes the sinful. If someone sows a Tulasi tree somewhere, certainly he becomes devoted to Lord Krishna. And when the Tulasi leaves are offered in devotion at the lotus feet of Krishna, there is the full development of love of Godhead." Prabhupada writes or comments, in India, all Hindus, even those not belonging to the Vaishnava group, take special care of the Tulasi tree. Even in great cities where it is very difficult to keep a Tulasi tree, people are to be found very carefully keeping this plant. They water it and offer obeisances to it, because worship of the Tulasi tree is very important in devotional service. In the Skanda Purana, there is another statement about Tulasi as follows. Quote, "Tulasi is auspicious in all respects. Simply by seeing, simply by touching, simply by remembering, simply by praying to, simply by bowing down before, simply by hearing about or simply by sowing this tree, there is always auspiciousness. Anyone who comes in touch with the Tulasi tree in the above mentioned ways lives eternally in the Vaikuntha world. Unquote. So this is from the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 11. And we are fortunate that Prabhupada very systematically and carefully introduced Tulasi worship to the West. As he began the movement in 1965, and gradually the temples increased and he installed deities. And there's a nice letter that Srila Prabhupada wrote to a devotee in 1970 in Los Angeles. It's very wonderful and shows Prabhupada's eagerness and how much he was stressing the worship of Tulasi. So it's a letter to Govinda in Los Angeles, 7th April 1970. My dear daughter Govinda Dasi, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated 2nd April 1970, and I am very much pleased for the nice sentiments you have expressed therein. But you should always remember that whatever we are doing, it is in the Parampara system, beginning from Lord Krishna down to us. Therefore, our loving spirit should be more upon the message than the physical representation. When we love the message and serve Him, automatically our devotional love for the physical is done. So this is Prabhupada's opening statements in this letter. And he speaks about Tulasi. I am so very glad to learn that Srimati Tulasi Devi has favored you so much. If you can actually grow this plant, Tulasi plant, if you can actually grow this Tulasi plant, and I am very sure you will do it, then you must know it for certain that your devotion for Lord Krishna is testified. I was very much anxious to introduce this worship of Tulasi plant amongst our society members, but it has not become successful till now. Therefore, when I hear that you have got this opportunity, my pleasure does not have any bounds. Prabhupada wanted this Tulasi worship, and he is expressing in 1970, right at the beginning of the Hare Krishna movement. My pleasure does not have any bounds. Prabhupada continues, please take care of the Tulasi plant in the following way. Again, immediately practical activity, practical action. This is the best season for growing Tulasi plants. From 15th April to 15th June is the best season for growing this plant. So we should understand that he is writing to devotees in Los Angeles, and this time is the summertime in America, in June. So he is saying in the West is the best time, in the summertime, in June. Now I understand that the seedlings are coming out. So the whole spot, if possible, may be covered with some net, because the seedling stage creepers, now understand that the seedlings are coming out. So the whole spot, if possible, may be covered with some net, because the seedling stage creepers, being very delicate and sometimes eaten up by sparrows, so we have to give a little protection to attack from the sparrows. All the devotees should pour water at least once in the morning before taking prasadam. Means you have to be pujari clean. Suchi. The watering should not be very large in quantity, but should be poured just to keep the ground soft and moist. Sunlight should also be allowed. When the creepers are grown at least 7 inches high, then you can take them out from the planting soil and transplant them in a row in a different place. Then go on watering and they will grow like anything. I think this plant cannot grow in cold countries. But if the plants are dispatched from your place, and if the devotees take care of the plant with a little care in a flower pot, then it may grow. Tulasi leaf is very, very dear to Vishnu. All Vishnu Tattva deities require profusely Tulasi leaves. Lord Vishnu likes garland of Tulasi leaves. Tulasi leaves mixed with sandalwood pulp and placed on the lotus feet of the Lord is the topmost worship. We must be very careful that Tulasi leaves cannot be placed at the feet of anyone except Lord Vishnu and his different forms. Tulasi leaves cannot be placed even at the lotus feet of Radharani or on the lotus feet of the spiritual master. It is entirely reserved for the lotus feet of Krishna, as you have seen on the Govinda album. I am giving you here with 3 mantras for Tulasi Devi as follows. Vrindayai Tulasi Devayai Priyayai Keshavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satya Vachai Namo Namaha. Somehow it's been changed in certain places. Yeah, they say Krishna Bhakti. But here in this letter in 1970, Prabhupada is saying Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satya Vachai Namo Namaha. That's one mantra. Prabhupada said this is offering obeisances, bowing down, Panchanga Pranam. And when collecting leaves from the plant, the following mantra should be chanted. Tulasya Amrita Janmasi Sada Tvam Keshavaya Priya Keshava Priya Keshava Vati Shinomi Tvam Bharada Bhava Sobhine. Then the mantra for circumambulating the Tulasi tree. Yani Kani Cha Papani Brahma Hatya Dikhani Cha Tanitani Pranakshanti Pradikshina Pade Pade. So there are 3 mantras, one for bowing down, one for circumambulating, and one for collecting the leaves. The collecting of leaves should be done once in the morning for worshipping and for putting on the plates of food to be offered. On each bowl or plate there should be at least 1 leaf. So you follow and practice these Tulasi affairs and you try to distribute your experience to all the other centers. That will be a new chapter in the history of the Krishna consciousness movement. So wonderful that Prabhupada has practically given everything in this letter. Govinda Dasi, Los Angeles, 7th April 1970. Okay. So here we find that how the trees and plants, and we read earlier on about the banana plant and the banana leaves and the mango leaves, how auspicious it in Vedic ceremonies. But here we find Prabhupada, when he began the Hare Krishna movement, he's stressing more on the worship of Tulasi. And it's so wonderful that immediately in this letter he's giving the essence and the firm foundation on Tulasi worship. If we simply stick to what Prabhupada is saying, Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi, Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satya Vachai Namo Namaha. So we find that in this chapter we've just started, Prithu Maharaj is now returning home after receiving instructions from Lord Vishnu, and this is how he is being received, with all this beautiful paraphernalia for auspiciousness, and he's setting the scene. And Prabhupada is saying here that all these opulences and decorations, such opulence immediately changes the condition of the mind. So we should take advantage whenever these ceremonies are going on, because in our current state our mind is disturbed. Our mind is very flickering and unsteady. And here we find that Prabhupada is saying it, just these opulences, these natural opulences, natural stones, and the holy plants, banana trees and mango leaves, betel nut trees, they create auspiciousness, and we find all these items are used in our ceremonies. So everyone should take advantage whenever there's a major celebration, or even at home, try and cultivate this, and especially the care and worship of Tulasi, as Prabhupada is stressing. He's giving this devotee, young devotee in 1970, first how you practice this worship of Tulasi, and then he's requesting her to share it with others. This is also a very important part, that we practice and we try and share with others. Hare Krishna. Thank you. We'll stop there and take your comments and questions. You can add on to the class. For the online, they can hear words of wisdom. They can.
Krishna. Thank you very much, Radhika Jivan Prabhu, for extending the idea of reception of Prithu Maharaj with all the auspicious items, and particularly relating it to the tradition of the auspicious plants which we do use in some of our ceremonies today. I remember on some occasion they had, in the temple, they had strung a garland of marigolds and mango leaves all around here as well. I don't know, can't remember which one, but it's a real nice way to decorate the temple. And then extending the idea about Tulasi as being most auspicious for us. I was more intrigued about the letter that Srila Prabhupada wrote. That was such a personal, detailed letter with a lot of affection, but also systematic instruction. You can see that Prabhupada was establishing the practices and the structure of his movement through that letter. And I managed to find the location, the reference. So further down is still very personal with Govinda Das. You can see she was one of his more close servants of those days. Thanks very much for sharing that. As well as establishing the mantra. We shouldn't deviate. That's a Jayadvaita Swami line. Don't deviate from the mantras. So yeah, we have to be conscious of that. Is there some parallel to this reception of King Prithu with Lord Krishna coming back to Dwarka, Lord Ram in Ayodhya, that you can remember? Something you want to comment? I know you know these things.
Yeah. I just quoted this pastime of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram coming to Mathura, and those verses that we read, you could say that they are so similar to to the reception of Prithu Maharaj with all the auspicious items. So that's like Vedic culture, and somehow we should try and follow as much as possible. And most of the items are available, you know. All right. Any other comments? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.